What connects us with the rest of the universe? All right, that's the question for today. And that is the question for number 126 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. If you'd like to get that full listing of all 144 in abstract form, just leave your name and email in the comment section. I'll send that out to you as soon as I see it for free. And you can also watch my video called Tree of Life, an introduction on YouTube that will, kind of get you up to speed here on the Tree of Life. So you'll be able to watch and benefit from all my videos in this series, this 144 videos. And then also you can buy my book for $10. You send it to Cash App or Venmo, listed in the description. And I'll send you out a copy of my book called The MASSTree, and that is an introduction to the Tree of Life. It's about 65 pages. It's a good little primer, and hopefully it's kind of intended to spark your interest and, to get you to recognize the importance of learning the Tree of Life, especially if you're, a dabbler into matters esoteric and, spiritual. Then the Tree of Life is a great tool to use in order to kind of prioritize, categorize, and memorize things that you need to memorize in a field that is very difficult to navigate. Okay, now for number 126, we are looking here at the tree, and this is basically a map of our consciousness, the Tree of Life, and each one of these circles or spheres corresponds to an aspect of our consciousness or a faculty of our consciousness. So the whole thing is a map of our consciousness, a 3D thing put onto a 2D surface. And then each one of the spheres is an aspect of our whole consciousness. And today for number 126, we're caught up here in number 1, the first sphere. There are 12 spheres total, number 10 through 0, and then also a thing here called the abyss, which is the 12th one. So today we're looking at number 1. And what is number 1? What faculty of consciousness does that correspond to? Well, the first sphere corresponds to omniscience, omnipresence, all present everywhere at once. It is one of our 3 divine faculties. 3, 2, and 1 are our divine faculties. Omnipotence is number 3, all-powerful. Omniscience is number 2, all-knowing or wisdom. And number 1 is omnipresence, all present everywhere at once, eternally. And that's what we're looking at here today. So omnipresence, really what it means is it means that this aspect, this here, number 1, is at the center of everything. You can think of it as our higher self, as the ether, as the subsisting state. It underlies everything. Okay, so it's not really that it is everywhere, but it is everywhere because it's at the center of everything. Okay, so every location in space or time, this omnipresent being is at the center of it. And so you can also think of this as the all. And it's a unifying factor because what's at the center of us is very subtle and very difficult to detect. In order to be able to detect it, you have to be able to calm your mind down to just not even a ripple. And then you're able to kind of see through the sea of the mind all the way to the center. And that's really kind of what happens here at the second sphere for wisdom. When you see the center of the mind, that's wisdom. But when you're actually being at the center of the mind, then and experiencing it from that point, not seeing it, but just being there, then that is really the first sphere, the omnipresence. And the first sphere is a unifying factor, because when we get to our deepest center, hidden within, subsisting within ourselves, we recognize that what is at our deepest center is the exact same thing as what is at the deepest center of everything else. That God particle, or that thing within us, is the same thing that's everywhere, that's with everything else at the center. And so we are all unified through this first sphere, omnipresence. Okay, now the first sphere is one of our 12 faculties of consciousness, but we are talking about our 144 fractal faculties of consciousness. So to get from 12 to 144, what we're doing is we're taking the tree of life to the second power. And what we're doing is we're basically taking the whole tree and shrinking it down to the size of a sphere and applying it to each one of the spheres. So we break down the spheres into their 12 parts. So what you're really doing here is you're imagining a whole tree in miniature superimposed over each one of the spheres. So you have 12 here, you have 12 here, 12 here, 12 here, 12 here, and so on, for a total of 144. So also here at the first sphere, which is where we are today, we have a mini 10th sphere and a mini 9th sphere, a mini 8th sphere, a mini 7th sphere, and so on. Or you could call them fractal. Fractal means basically the same as fractional. So you have, within the 10th sphere, you divide it into 12, fractional parts, the 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and so on. Today, we're looking at the 5th fractal of the first sphere. So when we recall number 5 is our sense of justice. The faculty of consciousness represented by the 5th sphere is our sense of justice, our sense of fairness, of right and wrong. And it also, you can think of it as karma. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As you sow, so shall you reap. What comes around goes around, like a boomerang. And so the 5th sphere, a lot of times you think of it as being negative. You get, karma is payback for what you did. But karma can also be your teacher. Because if you start taking your feedback and you start taking it to heart, and you start recognizing that you're not a victim of karma, you got what you deserve, you got back what you put out, then you can recognize that and you can clean up your actions. Karma is a pointer to show you where you're falling short, where your behavior is not up to par, where you're creating karma. And the karma is more or less based on violence, waste, and violation. So when you're creating violence or when you're violating people, you're going to get karma in return. But if you know that and you recognize that that's what's happening to you, then you can go back in your mind and in your memory and recognize, oh, well, I'm violating so-and-so, and that's why I'm being violated myself. I'm doing violence to so-and-so, or I did violence to so-and-so, and that's why, I'm receiving violence myself. So the fifth sphere is a teacher for people who are, awakening spiritually, and it shows the way to clean up our actions. Okay, so now what we're trying to do here is we're trying to imagine this fifth sphere, this karma consciousness within the overall first sphere of the omnipresence. And that's supposed to be what number 126 is all about. Alternatively called 5 stair steps to heaven and ubiquitous witness. Stage number 126 is about the internal observer who follows us around everywhere, watching and recording our every move. The proper relationship that one can have with the whole or alone. Do we have the discipline to refrain from wrongdoing or indulgence in emotion, even when alone? Akashic records, universal memory, what happened eternally, 4D. Everyone's photographic and phonographic memory of their whole lives, all in one. Being alone is not a safe haven for our violence and waste and violation. There is no hiding place from omnipresence, from the ubiquitous underlying witness. From the outside, the sun and the moon and the stars are watching. God's private eyes in the sky. And internally, God's private eye deep inside everyone's psyche. Non-local. The ether, the first ether. Non-local and within, inside space, the omnipresent, connecting you and me deep within. The lowest to the highest, connected by a stairway to heaven. Think of it as an icosadodeca bridge. Each step is a ratio of the square root of 5 plus or minus 1, the quantity over 2 or 5. Alone, we can be sowing divine seeds if we can bring out, if we can summon peak performance when the creator within is the only witness. One sows divine seeds for the nights in front of a full house. Find the balance between being alone and being with others who are other aspects of ourselves by engaging in pursuits only with those who are also working toward opening to their higher selves, while still being able to recognize the divinity in those who are not. Ubiquitous witness, non-local and within or without. We have a pair of rents and friends. We belong to communities, nations, and races. But spiritually, it's just between each of us and the creator within. Okay, that is the fifth fractal of the first sphere, number 126, ubiquitous witness, or 5 stair steps to heaven. And those 5 stair steps have to do with the icosahedra and dodecahedra bridges. If you take an icosahedron, those are the 2 platonic solids that are based on 5. The icosahedron has 20 faces. That is 4 times 5. And the pentagonal dodecahedron has 12 faces, but it has 20 vertexes. And that's also 4 times 5. 5 is is the number that's used to create the golden ratio. You can also see that in a star, in a pentagon, and in a star inscribed inside the pentagon. If you look at the star, each one of the line segments is related to each other by 1, 2, or 3 factors of the golden ratio. So within 5 is embedded this fractality, this recursion that's always creating itself over and over and over again ad infinitum. And so you can construct a stairway to heaven all the way from the microscopic all the way up to the size of, galaxies and universes and beyond. And they're not really all that many steps in between. I think all you do is about 30 steps is a factor of 1 million. So, you go about 300 steps and you go all the way from, the size of an electron, which actually doesn't have any size. It's a motion, but we'll just say that. All the way up to the size of a galaxy. And just, a couple hundred steps. Okay, we'll be talking much more about all this when we get into the sacred geometry. If you would like, again, to get that 100 guide of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life, just put your name and email in the comment section. I'll send that out to you for free. Also, you can use my Cash App and Venmo addresses listed in the description to donate to the channel, or you can, if you'd like to get something for your donation, you can donate $10 to me, and I will send you a copy of my book, Tree of Life. It's called the MASSTree, which is the MASSTree Reclaiming the Kabbalah from the Cabal. And that is $10. It's like 65 pages, so you can get through it in a day, but it'll be a rewarding day because you'll kind of have a gestalt. You'll be able to see the whole picture. That's the same with the free guide. It enables you to see the whole picture, because the key to really learning the Tree of Life is through memory. You have to have the basics memorized. Once you have the basics memorized, then you can take off from there. It gives you a whole new skill set. It's kind of like training a dog, where, the dog, it might seem, painful and repetitive or boring to kind of go through the same thing over and over and over again. But once you get that skill and once you get it locked in your memory, in your rote memory, then you all of a sudden have the potential to go much, much, much further and to do things that you could have never done before without having that background memory there. So the same principles apply here with Tree of Life. Stay tuned for future videos on this channel, number 127. Hopefully we'll be rolling out tomorrow, and many other videos on many other topics coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, have a great day, and we hope to see you back here soon. Thanks for tuning in.